Hope it will work well for CFAS. Welcome to the week 2 session for my CFAS subject, Conceptual Framework and Accounting Standards. This is, in short, theory of accounts. My first accounting standard that we're going to talk about is PAS number 7. And PAS number 7 deals with a specific financial statement. As you can see in your screen, nakikita nyo ba? The statement of cash flows. PAS 7 talks about the statement of cash flows and some important disclosures of the different activities mentioned here. As you can see, we're going to define what is all about statement of cash flows, the different activities involved, and the different specific transactions mentioned for these different activities and their classification and presentation. I already recorded the session. I started recording, ha? So, yeah. Let's start. The statement of cash flows. Ano bang alala nyo about the statement of cash flows? What are the different transactions involved? Let's define officially. According to PAS 7, this statement or FS provides info about the sources and utilization like the historical changes of any, ito tinatanong, cash and cash equivalents during the period, not just cash activities involving or including the cash equivalence transaction as well. So in your FAR or ODPROB, I believe it was defined, cash equivalents are short-term, highly liquid investments, diba? That are already currently maturing or you already purchased by the entity 3 months or less before its maturity period, diba? Kaya nasa line item siya ng cash and cash equivalents, which is a current asset item or current asset line item. No? Take note. Cash and cash equivalents. Ang laman ng statement of cash flows. Kasi sometimes we encounter a theory question that when it comes to choices, letter A, cash. B, cash equivalents. And C, cash and cash equivalents ang laman daw ng statement of cash flows. So to confirm, yes, cash and cash equivalents, that involves three activities. By the way, before the three activities, let me talk about here sources and utilization. It only involves the transactions about cash as to inflows and outflows. When we talk about inflows, it deals with receipts. Inflows, di ba? Pumasok na pera sa entity natin. Receipts. Outflows, of course, disbursements. That's it. No other activities involved. Therefore, there are no cash and cash equivalents in the transaction. It's not reflected in the statement of cash flows. Generally true, with one exception, right? Number one, operating activities. So there are three activities involved in the statement of cash flows. OIF, OIF, OIF lang. Operating activities, investing activities, and F stands for financing activities. Ito kasing OIF na ito or three activities involve specific methods of presentation. We have the so-called direct method, sabi ng PAS 7, tsaka indirect method of presentation. When we talk about direct method, ano ang tawag doon? Just the total cash inflows minus cash outflows. Can we do it in the different three activities? Yes. Direct method. Operating, investing, financing. Total inflows minus total outflows. Pag positive, may cash pang naiwan. However, indirect method. Sabi ng PAS 7, operating activities lang daw ang pwede sa indirect method. Why? In indirect method, we start with the net income or net loss, the income statement accounts. And from there, we adjust the non-cash expenses tsaka income. Kaya, nagiging exception siya. Nagiging exception as to the cash. Sabi kasi, di ba, only cash activities. Generally true. Pero kasi, pag indirect method, operating activities, non-cash expenses are involved or adjusted. Kaya yun lang ang exception, sabi ng PAS 7. Okay? Operating lang activities. Operating activities daw. Pwedeng direct method presentation or indirect method. Okay? Investing, financing, direct method lang lahat yan. Ibig sabihin ng direct method, total inflows minus total outflows. Indirect method, net income ang unahin, then adjust the non-cash expenses and income. Pag non-cash expenses, in-add back. pag non-cash income? Mina-minus, pabalik. Anong example ng non-cash expenses? Depreciation, right? Amortization expense for intangible assets. Depreciation expense for PPEs. Uh, from there, example ng income, mga unrealized gain or losses, mga ganyan, and the rest ng non-cash items. Yeah, those are the different activities and their general presentation. Let's define. Ayan, nasa screen naman, ha? Pag sinabing operating activities, as you can notice here, it talks about the determination of profit or loss. O, di ba? Medyo connected sa sinabi natin kanina for indirect method. Sabi niya, lahat daw ng activities na involve ang income or profit or loss. E, ano nga ba yung mga accounts or items na yun? Siyempre, pag income or loss, operational, day-to-day basis, daily, and daily transactions involve current items. In short, that affects income statement accounts daw operating activities. Lahat ng current assets and current liabilities. Investing activities, sabi niya rito, long term. Long term ang usapan, so non-current assets. When we purchase a land, PPE, we sell our machinery or building, 'di ba? So non-current assets lahat 'yun. Investments, long-term accounts, 'di ba? Intangible assets from patent, copyright, trademark, franchises and leases are all under investing activities. Depende na lang kung purchase or sale. If we purchase, it's an outflow. If we sell, it's an inflow kasi nakabenta tayo, right? Investing activities, non-current assets. Operating activities, current assets and current assets and current liabilities. E ano tong financing? Sabi niya, financing activities used to finance, to fund the operations, to fund our entity. So it involves dalawa. Sabi niya, equity and non-operating liabilities or simply non-current liabilities. Sabi ng financial management, when we talk about bonds, if the investment is through bonds, it involves debts, debt instruments, PFRS 9. So, long-term liabilities, mga bonds na usapan. We finance the operation through bonds, liabilities usapan. Long-term, equity, we issue our own shares. Financing activities, right? So those are the typical classifications and presentation of the said activities. I hope you were able to refresh yourselves when it comes to it. And what are the typical examples of operating activities? So ito, letter A, cash receipts. So cash inflow. Ayan, operational eh. So everyday, pag nakabenta, may sale of goods, may rendering of services, and other forms of income daily, on a daily aspect. Cash payments, cash outflows, ano daw? Purchase of goods, services, payment ng operating expenses, such as employee benefits, insurance expense, and the like, even payment of tax refunds and income taxes, di ba? Basta payment, outflow, and operating activities. Basta daw nakita sa income statement, on the general aspect, those accounts now involve the operating activities. Letter D, cash receipts and payments from contracts held for dealing or trading purposes. Ayan, di ba? That's the keyword, operation kasi trading and dealing purposes. Example, reciprocal events. May sale, may buyer, may seller. Trading, operating activities. Next. Investing activities examples, you can take a screenshot from here or confirm your notes. Pero practically, as you can see here, diba? From A to D, it involves long-term, non-current assets. Letter A, cash receipt, nakabenta. Cash payment, nagbayad, bumili. No? PPE, lahat na alam yung PPE, kasama dyan. Investment property, sabi ng FAR, investment property is a long-term asset, intangible assets and other non-current assets, mostly investments. No? Biological assets. Basta may cash and cash equivalents na involve activities, doon sa activities. B, cash receipts and cash payments in the acquisition and sale of equity or debt instruments. So ayan na si investments of other entities. Other than those that are classified as cash equivalents or held for trading, see cash receipts and cash payments on derivative assets. So derivative is an investment as well. It involves like a gambling activity, di ba? Parang sugal when it comes to derivatives. And liabilities. Other than those that are held for trading or classified as financing activities. And lastly, investing din daw pag may loans to other parties and collections thereof, other than loans made by a financial institution, kasi parang usapang non-current liabilities na yan, di ba? Investment in bonds na usapan, investment account pa rin naman yun. Pag tayo si investor, so parang pumapasok pa rin siya sa investing activities. Unless nag-issue tayo ng bonds, next slide, financing. No? If you're the one, the company that issues bonds, we finance our activities through it, our operations through it, ayan, financing activities. Examples specifically, ayan, cash receipts from issuing shares na banggit na natin kanina, and other equity instruments and cash payments to redeem them, di ba? Cash receipts from issuing notes, loans, bonds, and mortgage. Ayan yung sinasabi natin, tayo yung nag-issue ng long-term investments that became a non-current liabilities on our perspective sa letter B. And other short-term or long-term borrowings and their repayments and cash payments by a lessee for the reduction of the outstanding liability relating to a lease are all financing activities. So, aside from the definitions a while ago, I hope you remember kasi the different specific activities or transactions and examples, no? Kasi it's a matter of classification. Operating ba yan? Tatlo lang naman lagi di ba? Between operating, investing, and finance. Okay? This is a summary of whatever we discussed so far about past 7. And as a core principle, as you can see, highlights or notes when it comes to preparing the statement of cash flows include only, ayan, nabanggit na natin, di ba? Only the transactions that affect cash plus cash equivalents. Example, purchase of assets by buying cash. Siyempre, we exclude transactions that have not affected cash and cash equivalents gaya ng purchase of assets by issuing notes payable pa lang or shares of stocks ng entity natin. So, alam naman na natin yun from the term itself of the FS, right? The statement of cash flow. So make sure to not get it wrong, no? Unless indirect method, sa computational part lang yun ng operating activities. Pero on the general aspect, syempre, cash and cash equivalents lang ang laging reflected. Okay? Itong slide na to is about the different items that might have not a clear presentation to you guys, specifically interest income we received, interest expense paid, dividend income we received, and dividends paid to the owners. Ano bang sabi ng pa 7? May option 1 tsaka option 2. But basically, option 1 will come first. Kaya ang option 1A, nauna ang 1 sa 2, you start with option 1 first. So if there are no other choices, option 1 will be the best. When it comes to interest income we receive, take note, operating activity siya. Unless the entity can disclose it. Option 2, investing activity. Possible. So exceptions, option 2. Interest expense we pay, of course, operating activity yan, unless the entity can disclose or disclose such under financing. Pwede daw. Sabi ng pa 7, no? So option 1 muna. Dividend income we receive, operating activity daw siya, pero pwede rin investing activity. Dividends we pay to our owners, to our shareholders, financing. Siyempre, share issuance yan related activity. Pero dinisclose ng entity under operating, pwede daw, sabi ng pa 7. Pero isang beses lang kung pinili niya yung option 2, sa option 2 lang lahat ang disclosure. Ano? Sa option 1. Pero if not, option 1 ang unang basis. General aspect yan. General presentation. Ang sinasabi lang naman ng slide na to, through past 7, it was mentioned na there are options in case hindi masunod or hindi ginagamit yung option 1. So option 1 became the general rule, option 2 became an exception. No? So sila lang yung items na may ganyan. Because the rest of whatever we mentioned are specifically accounted for in the said activities, yung mga naunang slides. Okay? Ayan, as I mentioned, no? Direct method saka indirect method. lahat yan, no, activities kanina sa OIF are all can be under direct method. Total, ayan no, di ba? Gross cash receipts, the total inflows, minus the gross cash payments, the total outflows, right? Yung direct method, ayan, we adjust based on the accrual basis the profit or loss for the effects of changes in operating assets and and the effects of non-cash items. So siguro sa far naturuan or tinuturuan kayo doon ng statement of cash flows na usapan under indirect method, only operating lang. Pag net income naka-add talaga sa una yun, tapos ina-add back natin lahat ng non-cash expenses gaya ng depreciation at amortization, tapos ibabawas natin yung mga non-cash income. From there, yung mga changes ng current assets at current liability, di ba? Sa indirect method. Sa indirect method, pag nag-increase ng current assets account, nagbabawas. Pag nag-decrease, ay sorry, yeah, correct. Pag nag-decrease ng current assets account, dinadagdag pabalik. Pag nag-increase ng current liabilities, ina-add. Pag nag-decrease ng current liabilities na accounts, binabawas. From there, lalabas si cash activity balance for operating activities. Okay? Past 7. Next, a review with intermediate accounting 3 topic. This is a short one, past 24. Whatever you learned so far in past 24, what can you remember? Related party disclosures. So in this standard, we're gonna talk about specific related party transactions at ano yung mga kasama doon at mga additional important disclosures for this events or transactions. Okay? PAS 24 prescribes the necessary disclosures regarding related party relationships. Take note, relationships plus transactions. Outstanding balances and commitments between an entity and its related parties. So ano nga ba yung related parties? De-define natin later dito. And take note, di lang siya specific transactions involving relationships as well. Malalaman natin mamaya when it comes to its disclosure. We also have outstanding balances and commitments between the entity and its related parties. Ganun lang naman lagi yung perspective natin when it comes to CFAS and FAR, di ba? Tayo yung accountant ng entity. So parang perspective natin, so kung tayo yung accountant ng entity, somehow we account in behalf of the entity being the owner. So, sino yung mga related parties niya? Parang ganun yung concept. As a core principle, the financial position and profit or loss of an entity may be affected kasi by a related party relationship. Take note, kaya may relationship kasi even if only the said relationship occur and do not have any transaction, the mere existence of relationship may be sufficient to affect the transactions of the entity with other parties. Example kasi niyan, pag part ng management or board of directors, yung isang personnel na involved, tapos yung asawa niya or kapatid or anak niya may business supplying our business line, a possible supplier for our business line. Siyempre, that relationship itself, di ba, can somehow affect the decision when it comes to the said transaction. Kasi syempre, pag may offer or may usapang suppliers, we're gonna choose our supplier, malamang unahin natin yung kamag-anak or kapamilya natin, di ba? So, relationship na usapan, disclosure sa past 24. So, sabi niya rito, hindi naman necessarily na may transactions na agad. The specific, a mere relationship involving someone from our entity or our entity itself plus the said related party, we need to disclose. Saan mag-disclose? Siyempre to the notes to the financial statements at minimum. Necessary disclosures, therefore, kasi should be provided to draw the users. O, napag-usapan na natin last external users, our main users, external lahat yan. So, concern or query nila yan kung sino yung mga kakransact natin. So, because it might have a possible effects of the said relationship or transaction on our FS. So, who is a related party or what is a related party? As you can see here, who and what, diba? Kasi can be a person or can be an entity. that is related to the reporting entity, tayo yon yung ina-accounting natin. That is preparing the financial statements. These are the examples. Ayan. Investor and investee relationship. Where there is a control, joint control, or significant influence. Na? Oh, sa FAR, anong usapan pag may control? Ilan ang percentage ng ownership natin? Pag may control, more than 50%. Pero pag may significant influence, investment in associate lang yun, more than 20% on the general perspective. Diba? So, investor and investee relationship. Pag may control, investment in subsidiary. Significant influence, investment in associate. Pag joint control, depende kung ano yung katransact or transaction involved. It might be with the government or a specific project lang. Joint control, hati sila ng ownership. Pero pag na-build na nila yung bridge, na-build na nila yung expressway, okay na. Nag-end na yung relationship nila, di ba? Investor and investee relationship. Number two, related party rin daw yung key management personnel. Siyempre, pag key management personnel, medyo related sa management and decision making. Diba? Management, managers, supervisors. Baka may sariling negosyo, siya ang supplier ng entity natin. Mahirap yun. So, related party. Pwede naman, depende sa board approval or decision, pero dinisclose dapat natin. Kasi baka mamaya, supplier natin, ayan, kasi na-decision na ng supplier natin yung sariling business ng isang personnel natin or board, key management personnel siya, decision maker siya, baka maging bias, baka mas marami, baka may mas maayos pang price from other parties sana or suppliers kung hindi siya. Pero dahil kakilala natin, unahin natin siya. Key management personnel. Number three, close. Close family member. The question here now is gaano ka-close ang isang family member sa past 24. Sabi lang naman, binanggit naman ng past 24, your husband or wife, your dependents. That's it. Dependents, biological, adopted, or dependents ng partner niya. Yun ang sabi. Close family members daw lahat yun. No? Hindi naman binanggit, siblings, mga kapatid, parents, ganun. Pero basically, those are direct family members. So, if it affects, that's the key term related party affects the transaction or relationship So, malamang within the direct family members lang din, si close family members. No? Pag pinsan, medyo malayo na. Like second degree and so on. So, sabi ng past 24, ang in-enumerate lang naman niya sa close family members na nauna hindi parents, husband and wife or partner. Sabi niya doon. Kasi yung partner baka hindi kasal. Tapos yung partner niya may anak sa iba. Lahat daw yun close family members. Or nung naging sila, may anak na siya, yung partner. So lahat daw yun close family members. And of course, syempre yung talagang anak niya. No? Lahat yun magpo-fall daw sa close family members. Kasi nga, yung example natin kanina, right? Baka may negosyo. May family business. Siya yung supplier. Yung business na yun, ang supplier ng entity natin or katransact natin, parte ng board or management yung isa sa mga may-ari or isa sa family members. Or yun nga, asawa niya, anak niya, related party. We need to disclose such. Okay? Number four, post-employment benefit plan. Siyempre, those are long-term obligations or liable ng entity natin. Then disclose din daw yun as related party. Ayan, post-employment, retirement, and the rest. So, yes, control. Ayun, nabanggit na natin kanina. Kailan may control sa investments? I hope you can read in our presentation, in our slide currently. Kailan may significant influence and kailan may joint control. Lahat daw kasi ito ay reflection ng related party, relationship or connection, no? Nabanggit naman na natin kanina, control, more than 50% ownership, significant influence, more than 20%. Pag control, subsidiary, investment in subsidiary, pag significant influence, investment in associate. Joint control, specific project, specific transaction. With the government, with other entities, o joint control. Baka tayo-tayo lang din magkakatransact. Ayaw ng external users yun. Baka masyadong mataas ang expenses or prices. We need to disclose past 24 as related party. Ayan, mga discuss natin, key management personnel, as you can see, yung involved sa Planning, directing, controlling, directly or indirectly, including any directors daw, mapa executive or other directors. Ang palatandaan naman natin pag management decision makers. Pag frontline, entry level, operational, medyo hindi management side to. O close members, ayan na sila. Yung sinabi natin kanina. Individuals, domestic partner, and children. Children of the individual's domestic partner, baka kasi may anak na nung bago naging sila. Dependence of the individual or the individual's domestic partner. Sila yung pinaka-specific na nabanggit. Pero substance over form, close members, syempre, directly. Baka yung mga nag-stay lang within their house. Parents and siblings. Ayan, interpreted na idadagdag, kumbaga. Related party transactions. And as a definition mentioned here as well, related party transaction, transfer of resources, services, or obligations between the reporting entity and the related party, regardless may price man or specific transaction man or wala. Eto. Sa slide na to, unrelated parties. Anong gagawin pag unrelated parties? Wala. Typical operational transaction lang. Typical entries, typical basic accounting process lang. Sabi ng PAS 24, no other special and additional disclosures na usapan. Di ba? So, unrelated yung mga yan. Yung mga typical lang daw, number one, mga typical lang na uh, may common directors, sabi ng corporation code, and two venturers lang simply because they share joint control over a joint venture, providers of finance, banks, and so on, di ba? Government, yeah. Yung mga BIR, customer, supplier, franchisor, distributor, or general agents. So those are unrelated parties daw. Disclosure, sabi niya, for when it comes to disclosures to the parent and subsidiary relationship, is the typical disclosure is through the notes to financial statements. Binabanggit natin na may related party na nangyayari. Tapos, hindi man nangyari or transaction, we disclose the compensation, the reflection of its relationship, and ano man yung napag-agreean or napag-usapan nila. Mga ganun. So, that's specific disclosures. With the following category, sabi niya rito sa compensation nga, with the following categories is spots and loans to key management personnel. Spots is the abbreviation sa investment na you talk about the selling price, you talk about the price itself, the operation, the terms and conditions of the agreed upon package. Kasi package yan pag employment, post-employment benefits and so on or compensation. No? So in short, nagdadagdag lang tayo ng disclosure sa notes to FS pag related party. Pag unrelated party siya, pag unrelated, typical lang. The typical accounting process lang. Wala lang idadagdag sa anumang disclosures na ginagawa natin. Okay? Past 24. Next. Let's have here past 8. Ayan. Your first topic, I believe, in ODPRAB, diba? Past 8. Changes in accounting policies, estimates, and errors. Huli na ba ako masyado sa past 8? Ito, review na lang kung natapos nyo na sa ODPRAB. Ano ang disclosures needed when it comes to these different items? Ano ang theoretical application niya and paano natin siya ina-adjust, di ba? When it comes to these changes, the answer is in Philippine Accounting Standards number 8. Let's define those terms and understand the transactions involved with the say different items. So, PAS 8 prescribes the criteria for selecting, applying, and changing accounting policies and the accounting and disclosure of changes in accounting policies, estimates, and correction of prior period errors. First, let's have accounting policies. Sabi ng PAS 8, these are the specific principles, basis, conventions, rules, and practices applied by an entity in preparing and presenting the FS, accounting policies. Siyempre, from last week, ano bang number one na basis ng accounting policies? We have the GAAP, and GAAP is reflected through PFRS, Philippine Accounting Standards. Pangalawa lang si conceptual framework pag walang applicable na accounting standards and interpretation, right? So, accounting policies, pag may nagbago, doon, sa naging basis, accounting policy changes. Tama? So ito as mentioned in the second bullet. Ayan, di ba? These are all the PFRS reflections. So update lang natin, FSRSC, the governing body who interprets and adopts the different generally accepted accounting principle being converted as PFRS and PAS and other interpretations. Financial reporting and sustainability Financial and Sustainability Reporting Standards Council, FSRSC na siya ngayon tawag, no? September 2022 onwards. Yan. Sustainability side. Meron akong ano dito sa sustainability side. But basically, it's being reflected no with accounting reporting as well, 'di ba? Kaya medyo pinalitan yung council or in-improve kumbaga. Hindi naman siya pinalitan, in-improve is the term for it. Tapos na natin yan lesson. Let's focus on tapos na rin natin to lesson. Let's focus on the different accounting estimates, policies, and the changes, no? Kung nakalimutan nyo na, number one, PFRS, di ba? Number two, judgment, professional judgment ng entity kung walang applicable na accounting standards with the help of the conceptual framework. Which leads us to the conclusion last week, di ba? The conceptual framework is not a PFRS. Policies kasi usapan sa side na to ng PAS 8, accounting policies. Ito yung summary ng pinag-uusapan natin sa PAS 8. Andito tayo sa number 1. Pag changes in accounting policies, ang interpretation niyan, this is change. This is a change in measurement basis. Kasi sinabi ng standards na ito ng basis. Sabi niya, sa pass sa inventories, lower of fair value versus net realizable value. Pag biological assets, fair value less cost to sell at the point of harvest. Mga ganun. So yun ang policy. Eh kung pinalitan lahat, laging fair value na ang basis. Changes in accounting policy. Ano daw interpretation nun sa accounting? The third side, the third part of the table. Sabi niya rito, those changes are accounted for as a transitional provision pero in short is a retrospective application. When we talk about retrospective application, ano ang keyword or key term niya siya? Retro, pabalik. Past periods. Previous periods should be adjusted. Kaya sabi nga rito, I should annotate. Sabi nga rito, sabi niya, beginning balance ng retained earnings ang basis. Kasi retrospective pabalik, na close na yung income statement accounts or other accounts na affected. Saan mo siya i-adjust? Retained earnings. Beginning balance na usapan, di ba? Kaya, nakasulat dyan, retrospective, retained earnings balance ang adjustment. Retrospective accounting policy. Pangalawa, sabihin na natin, changes in accounting estimates kasi estimates nga So, sa amounts naman siya. Any changes in the realization or incurrence of expected inflow or outflow ng economic benefits, mapa-assets man yun or liabilities. Example, nagpalit ng useful life, residual or salvage value, nagpalit ng inventory costing method, di ba? Changes in accounting estimate. Ano ang effect sa accounting nun? Prospective application. Ano ibig sabihin pag prospective? Siyempre, prospect future periods, di ba? Yun ang difference nila. Saan i-adjust? Doon sa specific ng income statement account or profit or loss of the current period and future periods. No? If it affects both periods. Basta palatandaan natin. Changes in accounting estimates, prospective yung application, future periods are adjusted or reflected na. Diba? Pag accounting policy kanina, retro, pabalik ka. Past periods, kaya yung retained earnings beginning balance ang nauuna na affected or adjusted. No? Ano tong pangatlo? Correction of prior period errors. Sabi ng PAS 8 naman, pag sinabing prior period errors daw, intentional or unintentional, mathematical mistakes, or common mistakes lang in the accounting process, nang nag-prepare nun, lahat yun, prior period errors. And it should be corrected or adjusted retrospective. Sino magkamukha? Sino magkapares? Accounting policy here, number 1. And number 3, prior period errors because they are both retrospective adjustment. Retrospective application. Pag retrospective, beginning balance ng retained earnings ang usapan. No? Sino lang ang hindi? Sa change in accounting estimate. Kasi prospective, no? Huwag niyong kakalimutan, ha? Huwag niyong pagbabalik ta rin. Eh, sir, sa dami ng terms na binanggit niyo simula last week, talagang makakalimutan namin yan. Kaya ano bang pwede niyong maibigay sa aming palatandaan? O ito na. Palatandaan, wag pagsamahin ang letter P. Tama? Changes in accounting policy, P. Policy. So, hindi dapat prospective. Which leads us to R, retrospective. As a conclusion, malamang si policy nasa changes in accounting estimate. No? Remember, pass it, wag pagsasamahin si letter P. P as in Papa. Accounting policy, P. So, hindi dapat prospective. Retrospective. Conclusion, si accounting estimate, sa kanya yung P, prospective application. No? May ganun din sa kabilang, kasi sa basic accounting, sa inventories, no? Ano pa? FOB shipping point, right? Huwag pagsasamahin ang S. Shipping point, sinong may-ari? Si buyer, right? Hindi pwede si seller. Huwag pagsamahin ang parehas eh. S. Seller, hindi pwede. Shipping point, buyer na may-ari. Habang nasa LBC yung purchase. Which leads us to the conclusion, FOB destination, si seller, may-ari. Habang nasa LBC na yung goods, di ba? Ganon din dito sa Pass 8. Pagpagsamahin si letter P, accounting policy, prospective. Estimate, retrospective. Okay? Moving forward, paano naman, ayan, para yung period sinabi na. Yan, paano kung hindi ka sure? Sabi naman yan ng theory question or information eh. Kasi when it's difficult or hard to know if it is a change in accounting policy or estimate, we go with a change in accounting estimate. Pag hindi daw sure, kasi kanina present na eh, plinot na lahat ng information to know if it is a change in accounting policy or estimate. Eh paano kung medyo gray area? Sabi niya, dapat daw accounting estimate ang presentation or reporting nun. Ha? Don't forget. An entity should only change kasi an accounting policy pag sinabi ng PFRS or may bagong PFRS or number two, pag mas relevant or reliable na magpalit na accounting policy. Example, investments, right? Remember kanina sa related party, si investment ni associate, sabi 20% or more ang ownership para maging investment ni associate. Pero the following year, hindi na 20% at wala nang significant influence. Susundin pa ba natin na investment in associate siya? Siyempre hindi na. PFRS 9, past 32, typical na investment account na lang siya. Na investment in equity securities account na lang siya. Diba? So, sabi niya, number 2, doon nagpapalit ng accounting policy. Accounting principle of relevance and reliability. And of course, number 1, pag sinabi ng PFRS. Pag hindi, accounting estimates daw yun. Okay? Next slide. Oh, these are the examples. Hindi na natin isa-isahin masyado, pero you can already categorize things here. If you saw the item that is a change in accounting policy, ayun ang inventory cost formula. Nagpalit daw from FIFO to average. Nagpalit ng inventory cost method. Change in accounting policy. Oh, advanced accounting, change in methods of recognizing revenue from long-term construction contracts. Kasi di ba, percentage of completion method yan. Minsan pero cost recovery method din. Eh, pag nagpalit, accounting policy. Siyempre, number 3, pag may bagong PFRS. Number 4, dati siyang PFRS for SMEs, naging typical na entity na siya, or baka application niya ay PFRS for SMEs. Yeah. Number 5, initial adoption of revaluation model. Pag revaluation model, fair value ang basis niyan, PPE or intangible assets. Change from cost model to fair value model of measuring investment property kasi yung dalawang models pwede. Change in business model for classifying financial assets, resulting to reclassification between financial asset categories. Lahat yan ay accounting policy changes. Mag-accounting policy, retrospective application. Retained earnings, beginning balance ang usapan. Oh, changes in accounting estimates. As you can see, numbers, methods, valuation ang usapan. And depreciation expense method, tsaka amortization method, nagpalit straight line method, double declining, SYD, and the rest. Nagpalit ng useful life or ng depreciable asset kahit residual or salvage value niya. nagpalit ng allowance for bad debts required allowance for bad debts methods. Di ba tatlo yun? It can be percentage of net credit sales, receivable balance, or aging ng number 4. Pag nagpalit, ayan, change in accounting estimate. Or number 5, changes in fair value less cost to sell of non-current asset held for sale or even bio assets are all changes in accounting estimates. Okay? Pag errors, ayun yung typical examples ng errors, sabi ng past 8. Nabanggit na natin kanina. From mathematical mistakes down to mistake in applying accounting policies. Fraud involves error correction as well, or oversight or misinterpretation of facts. Under errors lahat yun. Ano ang treatment pag errors? Retrospective application. Okay? Pass 8. Next, Past 34. Let's talk about another, I believe, part 3 topic ito. A very short one as well, like in past 24. Interim. Isinama namin si interim dito sa course outline ng SkiFast because interim financial reporting deals with, of course, the interim financial reports and some basic understanding aside from past 1. Yun ang magkapares eh. Pag past 1 kasi, yung natapos natin last week is the full and complete set of financial statements. Ano naman ngayon ang usapan pag interim financial reporting past 34? Siyempre, pag usapang interim, sabi niya, interim reporting pertains to the preparation and presentation of interim reports for an interim period. Ano ba ibig sabihin pag interim period? Less than 1 year. Less than 12 months. Pwede pala. Based on accounting standards? Yes. It might depend on the governing bodies or legal or contractual needs of the entity. That's why we have interim financial reports. Pero sabi niya rito, hindi siya strict. That's the basic understanding of PAS 34. When we talk about PAS 34, it can be interpreted as a interim financial report means a financial report that contains either the complete set of FS which is mentioned in past one and we already finished last week, or a set of condensed financial statements or the one mentioned here in past 34 for an interim period. So, ngayon ano na natin, interim period saka interim reports. Pag interim period, less than 1 year. Example, quarterly. How many quarters in a year? There are 4 quarters, which leads us to 3 months. Covered period per quarter. Semi-annual, there are 6 months. And of course, monthly and weekly na usapan. So, pag complete set daw ng FS, syempre complete from 1 to 5. Lahat yan present. Updated as of the interim period na report natin. Pag sabi kasi natin condense, is specific lang. Only those items mentioned or reflected in the interim period that we are presenting or reporting. Sabi kasi ng past 34, kahit i-disclose mo ng buo, yung FS, kahit interim reporting ka lang, okay lang daw, walang violation. It's true, it's part, it can be part of the financial reporting. Pero letter B, if we ought to choose only condense, pag sabing condense, specific lang, yung sa mismong interim periods lang na covered nung report ang ipe-present. Ayos lang din daw. So both can be uh, way of reflecting or reporting those items and transactions. Ayan, sabi niya, Past 34 does not require the entities to provide interim financial reports. Kailan ba nangyayari yun? Second bullet. Nangyari lang kasi na may interim reports if the entity is required by government, security regulators, stock exchanges, and accountancy bodies, or the entity just chose to reflect the interim reports. Di ba kasi merong mga usapang meetings, may usapang needs ng users, baka kasi quarterly ang kailangan nila, or they want just specific transactions that involve a specific period long and not for 1 year. Ayan, interim is the answer. Past 34. However, sabi niya rito, Past 34 encourages publicly traded entities. Siyempre, lahat ng nasa stock market na usapan, PSE, to provide at least semi-annual interim financial reports and publish them, take note, not later than 60 days. I believe hindi pa naman na palitan ito. It should be published not later than 60 days after the end of the interim period. Okay? So, kumbaga kung first quarter yan, March 30 yung end or March 31, by the end of May, yan, 60 days, diba, na i-publish na yung interim. Walang ganyan sa past one usapan. Pero dito sa interim, take note 60 days daw. After the end of the interim period. Okay? So, ano bang content ng interim financial report? As mentioned here, the entity presenting the interim financial report has the option nga, sinasabi natin kanina. If it's gonna present the complete set of FS, pass 1 susundan niya. Pero kung hindi, specific lang, pass 34, only a condensed set of financial statements. Pag condensed, specific lang na mga transactions sa interim period ang kasama. Yan. Ito yung complete set ng FS kasi ang past one before it. So, ito naman yung sa minimum content ng condensed interim financial report under past 34. Condensed, specific lang. So, kung first quarter, pang first quarter lang lahat na transactions ang reflected. As you can see here sa number 5, selected explanatory notes to financial statements lang. Selected lang. Kasi yung kino-cover lang niya na period ang dinisclose or present natin pag condensed na usapan. Ito ay specifically mentioned in past 34. Pero ano sabi ng previous slide? Kung buong past 1, the complete set of FS ang present, ayos lang din daw, sabi niya. Kahit interim reporting ang presentation. Because the term condensed means the entity needs only to provide the minimum info required under past 34. What's the minimum info? The specific information or transaction covering the interim period. No? However, ayan, sinabi na natin kanina, di ba? An entity is not prohibited na kasi from publishing any complete set of FS reflected in past one. And the entity, third bullet, is also not prohibited from including the condensed interim FS info that is more than the minimum line items or selected explanatory notes set out under past 34. So may options siya pag may interim reporting na usapan or period, no? These are the different accounting principles na hinighlight sa interim reporting. Take note, its relevance over reliability, materiality, and estimates, and note disclosures, of course, that's important, no? Relevance over reliability lang daw muna. Kasi of course, specific transactions ng specific period lang ang usapan pag interim. Materiality at estimates, ayan, estimates, di ba? Kasi pag-usapang depreciation, hindi pa actual cost or expense ang involved or amount. So, estimates. Pero, usapang materiality, kailangan ma-disclose mo ng buo ang isang interim period pag you chose to have the interim period reporting. Kaya, mag-estimate ka talaga. And the notes disclosure stating na those are estimates and the specific period covered by the said report. Okay? Ito lang ay, the next slides are just typical presentation or samples of an interim financial reporting and the point of comparison with its previous periods. Ito sa nakikita nyo ay semi-annual. So as you can see here, if there's a current interim statement of financial position as of June 30, 20X1, o di semi-annual, no? June 30, 20X1, 6 months lang. Dapat daw sa condensed FS na yun, may comparative info as of December 31, 20X0. So, pag balance sheet, yung nakaraang interim period ng balance sheet, no? So as you can see here, semi-annual na interim report ng income statement or profit or loss and OCI, changes in equity, as of June 30, 20X1, as you can see, 1 year ang usapan na comparative info. June 30, 20X0. Diba? So parang dalawang nagdaan semi-annual or in short, 1 year. Diba? Pag P&L and changes in equity. Balance sheet, 6 months na comparative info. Ganito rin. Pag others, pag quarterly naman, tignan natin. Pag quarterly, si balance sheet as of September 30, 20X1, as you can see, nung nakarang taon talaga. Ang at least minimum na comparative info available. Pero pag quarterly, third quarter daw for the 9 months ending September 30, 2021, yung nakaraang third quarter. At minimum ang dapat na comparative info, no? Ganon din sa isang quarter lang ending September 30, 2021, September 30, 20x0 ang comparative reporting niya. Yung nakaraang third quarter, kumbaga, no? For the 9 months ending sa equity, ganun din. September 30, 20x0, kanyang comparative info. So parang point of difference nila is that pag balance sheet, always 1 year, no? Or nakaraang taon ang usapan. Not just the last quarter or last interim report na related dun sa current na interim report. What if the business is highly seasonal? We encountered a lot of theory questions for this. Sabi niya rito kasi pag highly seasonal, ang binabanggit naman ng past 34, it encourages to still disclose financial info for the latest 12 months. Latest 12 months and comparative info for the prior 12 months. In addition to the interim period financial statements. Kasi syempre kung highly seasonal na usapan, yung demand ng goods or services it provides ay specific periods lang. Hindi siya one year, all year round na usapan. So, if it is declared or presented as a seasonal business entity, sabi niya, dapat daw at least 12 months pa rin ang comparative info na disclosure niya. Ito, ano yung mga transactions na affected pag interim reports? Ito tatandaan natin sa slide na ito. First, sabi niya, gains and losses daw arising in the interim period, wag mo nang hatiin. Recognize immediately. Recognize mo ng buo. Pag yung gain and loss, nangyari dun sa in specific, gumalaw? Nangyari dun sa specific na interim period, sabi niya, recognize immediately all those gains and losses. Example, inventory write-downs and reversal, assets, impairment loss and reversal, discontinued operation, and fair value changes on assets measured at fair value. Those are mga not typical transactions eh. Sabi niya, recognize mo daw ng buo pag nangyari talaga sa specific period na yun. Halimbawa, nagbenta ka ng PPE ulit, gain on sale, yan. On that quarter, recognize mo ng buo yung gain na yun sa quarter na yun. Okay? Pero, second bullet, if those costs and expenses and even income that benefit the entire year or are incurred or earned over the year, ano sabi niya? These are spread out. So, fraction. Spread out over the interim periods or the whole year long, di ba? Example, depreciation expense. Sabi ng past 16, ang mga computation dyan, at least 1 year eh. Eh, isang quarter lang ang usapan dito. Divided by 12 months times 3 months. Fraction. Amortization expense for intangible assets, property taxes, income taxes as well, interest expense, computation, interest income, insurance expense, 13th month pay and other year-end bonuses and benefits are all should be spread out. Fraction, no? Depreciation, rent, interest, taxes. Yan. In short, ang palatandaan naman natin, if it covers different periods, that should be spread out, sabi ng second bullet, no? Pero if those transactions specifically happened on the specific period, sabi ng first bullet, recognize immediately. Okay? And the examples we mentioned as well. Ito. How about the discretionary income such as dividend income? Take note of this. We should recognize immediately the period the income is earned. No? The dividend income. Siyempre, ang dividend income is being declared by the end of the year once it earns profit. Walang magde-declare ng dividend income kung baka at loss siya. So, the dividend income daw, immediate recognition the moment na dineclare kung ng company na pinag-investan natin. Dividend income. Okay? However kasi, the next bullet or item, sabi niya, alam niyo na yan, tax, you already encountered taxation in the interim periods computed using the best estimate of the weighted average annual income tax rate expected for the full financial year. Usually binibigay or we just need to compute such, di ba? Pag taxes, interim report, weighted average, spread out na usapan in case walang weighted average na rate na usapan, no? Yung mga kasama niya, depreciation, amortization expense, taxes, and interest. Interim, don't forget. Okay, we're down to our last accounting standard for tonight. Gusto niyo ba yun? And medyo hindi tayo familiar sa PFRS 1 eh. Lagi nababanggit natin PAS 1. Sige, tapusin lang muna natin ha. PFRS 1. Minsan kasi tinatanong kaya isinama rin namin ito. PFRS 1 is for the first-time adopters of accounting standards. Ang PFRS 1 ginagamit lang ng mga entities who were able or entities that are not able to adopt the PFRS before its promulgation. Diba? Example, di ba naka-encounter ka ng mga entities or companies na we are operating for the past 50 years, 100 years. Oh, ano kayang standards ang ginamit nila? Ano kayang ginamit nila sa accounting reporting side? Siyempre, wala pang PFRS or baka old PAS pa yun. Kaya, lumabas si PFRS 1. Lumabas si PFRS 1 to help those first-time adopters and to define what is the first-time PFRS FS and the specific disclosures and requirements mentioned in PFRS 1. Okay? PFRS 1, we will define first-time adopters and required disclosure. Pag sinabi kasing first PFRS FS, basically the first annual FS in which the entity adopts the PFRS already by an explicit and unreserved statement of compliance with the PFRS or with the accounting standards. PFRS 1 yun, no? Siyempre, yung mga old entities na hindi talaga nag-adapt ng PFRS or baka micro, yan, mga micro businesses. Nag-expand sila, nag-incorporate sila, ayan. Kailangan nilang PFRS 1. First-time adopters sila. Ang pine-present nilang report, first PFRS FS nila. So, financial statements are considered as first PFRS FS if the previous financial statements nga kasi were prepared, the letter A, in accordance with other reporting standards, not consistent with the PFRS or the old accounting standards kasi nga matagal na sila nag-exist. Or, ayun nga, micro businesses, baka cooperatives or uh, other business structures na hindi covered ng PFRS. Basically, pag mga gumagamit naman ng PFRS nga are publicly listed entities and whatever business orgs you learned and talk about in your basic accounting. B, it did not contain an explicit and unreserved statement of compliance with PFRS. So, hindi siya in compliance with PFRS talaga. C, contained an explicit and unreserved statement of compliance with some law but not all PFRS. Kasi pag adopters tayo ng PFRS, lahat dapat eh. No? Hindi pwedeng pili. D, prepared using some but not all applicable PFRS. E, prepared in accordance with PFRS but were used for internal reporting purposes lang, so management accounting. F did not contain a complete set ng FS na pinag-usapan natin sa past one and the entity does not present at least annually the uh, the financial reports, no? The financial reports in the previous periods. And mga kailangan daw mag-adopt ng PFRS 1 yan. Ang tawag sa kanila, first-time adopters. Huh? They are not first-time entities. They are not first-time PFRS entities. Ang tawag daw siya sa PFRS 1, first-time adopters. Nothing else. Anong pinapresent nila? Anong report? First PFRS FS. No? Anong tawag sa kanila? The entity's first-time adopter. So, sabi niya, this standard requires the entity to prepare nga and present an opening. Yan. Anong opening na PFRS na FS nila? Sabi niya rito, the statement of financial position at the date of the transition to PFRS. Yan. Statement of financial position lang pala at minimum. Yes. Pero kung meron na, pwede na for income statement. Pwede na for cash flow or they can transition. Sabi naman ng PFRS 1, hindi naman masama or hindi naman pinagbabawal. Pero ang binabanggit lang at minimum, December 30, 2023, micro ka pa lang, tapos bilang naging corporation ka January 1, 2024, ayan, opening. Opening PFRS na Statement of Financial Position daw ang dapat na makita natin. The date to transition to PFRS is the beginning of the earliest period for which an entity presents full comparative info under PFRS in its first PFRS FS. The application of the PFRS starts on this date. So, as we mentioned, parang sa example natin, the January 1, 2024 now. Usapan. Okay, next. So when it comes to accounting policies, the entity selects its accounting policies based on the latest version of the PFRS at the current reporting date. The selected policies are then applied to all FS presented together with the first PFRS FS. Yan yung binabanggit natin kanina eh. Kasi at minimum, statement of financial position. Eh kung sinamahan niya ng ibang FS, sabi niya, dapat daw lahat ay reflected na based on the latest versions of the PFRS. So, in general, retrospective application. Huh? Huwag niyo kakalimutan, PFRS 1. But subject to some exceptions lang, which will be discussed momentarily when it comes to some specific items. Pero, on general aspect, this is a change in accounting policy somehow. So, it requires retrospective application lang of the accounting policies selected by the first-time adopters. So, yun ang usapan siya. Yun ang kailangan for PFRS 1, retrospective application. Kasi syempre nagpalit ka mismo ng standards na ginagamit. Accounting policy, retrospective. Okay? So this is the following applications. PFRS 1 requires an entity to do the following in its opening PFRS statement of financial position, di ba? Recognize, letter A, all assets and liab whose recognition is required by PFRS. B, not recognize items as assets or liab. If PFRS do not permit such recognition, C, reclassify items recognized under previous GAAP that have different classifications under PFRS. And letter D, apply PFRS in measuring all recognized assets and liabilities. So, mga requirements ng PFRS 1, no, don't forget here in this standard or in this slide, rather. So, however, sabi rito may exception of the requirement ng PFRS 1. The first-time adopter is exempted when it comes to compliance ng PFRS 1 on a retrospective application basis with the first letter A accounting principle, benefit over cost. If the cost of compliance exceeds the expected benefit, the accounting principle benefit over cost will apply. I-defer na lang daw niya mo. Okay lang daw, sabi ng PFRS 1 with the necessary note disclosure, of course. We need to disclose na hindi pa natin kaya na i-adopt fully yung PFRS 1. Kasi retrospective lahat i-adjust mo pabalik, 'di ba? Past periods retrospective. Hindi kaya. Sabi, letter A, if the cost exceeds benefit, it's okay. So, at least we prepare the statement of financial position on the transition period nga, sabi niya. B, the retrospective application kasi requires management judgments about the past conditions after the outcome of a particular transaction is already known. After the outcome of a particular transaction is already known, o di mahirap pa kasi hindi pa tapos or hindi pa final or yung actual amount ng transaction and so on. So, sabi niya, these are exceptions. Pwede pa daw na hindi gamitin agad yung full PFRS through the help of the PFRS 1. Kasi ano nga ba sabi ng PFRS 1? At minimum, the transition period represent the statement of financial position. No? So these are just exceptions. Pero kung kaya, dapat nang fully adopt siya. Siyempre kasi in compliance with the accounting standards, presentation na reporting and reporting. Presentation and disclosure, the first PFRS FS shall include at least 1 year lang. No? Take note of this one. At least 1 year comparative info. Yan. Yan lang binanggit ng PFRS 1. No? So, I recorded the session so far. Kaya in case naging unstable internet connection nyo or ako, kahit nevertheless, pag play nyo to, I believe, or na replay, it will be continuous. No? That ends our tonight's session, the different accounting standards we discussed. Let's check our progress. Uy, tapos na natin yung blue collar topics. Pero hindi pa ako mag-end. I still have around a lot of time. We're gonna have our quizzer. Sa mga hindi nakapasok last week at hindi pa naka-replay ng week 1 session, after po ako nagdi-discuss online, nagpapa-quizzer ako to somehow encounter different questions involving the blue group of topics. Okay, then from the quizzer, we end our session. Open muna natin yung chat box. Ako may ibang. Mhm. Saan tayo mag-umpisa? Questions, concerns? I believe nabanggit naman natin lahat mostly sa topics, right? Yes, indirect method, operating activities. Indirect method, possible. Direct method yung the rest. Investing, financing. Walang indirect. Movement. Thank you for answering. Yes, for purely theories sa CFAS for the midterm period. If you can check the calendar, no? Final topics kasi is accounting, advanced accounting topics. Problem solving na ho yan. Ginawa ito kasi to help the AFAR and FAR topics. If you can notice, medyo connected kaming apat. Si Odd Prob, hindi na diniscuss kung ano man diniscuss niya. Sa FAR, same with AFAS. Ay, sorry, si with AFAR. Si AFAR topics itong finals ko, itong pink, ay, purple ba to? Purple tsaka blue color topics. Ilinagay sa akin to help AFAR para matapos nyo daw lahat sa AFAR. Okay? Kaya, midterm, purely theories. Finals, problem solving na ako. Final exam, lahat ng topics ko. Wala daw sa related parties sa last exam. Okay, that's a good note. Of course, lalabas sa top subject ko. Um, Interim reporting. Ano daw yun? Which you say when is true. Ano yun? Ah, wait lang. Mabilis eh. Yes, the percentage is the interpretation of the significant influence tsaka control, no? Ano lang yung palatandaan lang yun, pero it's not really defined there. But if you reflect on the ownership, di ba? Pag significant influence, general rule, more than 20%. Pero pag more than 50% na siya ownership, associate na siya. Sorry, subsidiary na siya. More than 20%, associate, investment account yun. Investment in subsidiary, more than 50%. Advanced accounting na yun, di ba? Subsidiary and parent. Ay, nasa akin pala sa finance. Ayan, meron daw. Post-employment benefits ang tinanong, which is Satan is true. Interim. Ano yan? Yan. Condensed FS po is full FS. Full year. Yan ba yung tinatanong? Condensed is a specific FS para lang sa interim period. So, interim reporting siya. Condensed. Yung example, first quarter, isang quarter lang ang re-report mo. Condensed. Pag complete FS kasi, buong taon. Ang sabi ng PAS 1, ang isang complete FS. Kaya, kung yung lima ginawa mo ng condense, ay sorry, yung lima ginawa mo ng first quarter, condense, FS lahat yun. Pero kung buong taon, ayan, full set of FS. Sabi niya, is okay daw. Kahit nag-interim report ka. Ano kaya to? Yes, sabi niya. 8:30. Okay. I don't know the topic. Hindi ko alam po ano yun. Sinasabi. Ah, may nag-message about certificate. Let's just talk about it later. Or may iba bang, I'm sorry, I wasn't able to talk to our BOA chair when I was elected in the NACPA Accounting Teachers Conference, no? As a board of trustee. I tried to approach him, but medyo, medyo ano si BOA chair natin. Hindi siya super, I don't know the term, in person. Naka-record pa na to, baka ma-report ako. Naka-elect ko lang ho as board of trustee ng NACPA, National Association of CPAs in the Academy. So, mahirap na baka hindi tayo paupuin. But, yeah, I try to approach him when it comes to the certificate ng refresher. But he answers the question on the general aspect naman. Sinabi lang naman niya na the refresher certificate nga kasi is valid for 2 years. But legally speaking, we interpret it as they interpreted it, huh? They interpreted it in some other conventions and mentioning that that 2 years validity is also reflected to the 2 year, ano yun, two takes ng board. So whichever comes first, yun ang validity, yun ang sabi. So, sinabi lang ulit niya sa convention namin. So, but I was able to confirm kasi gusto ko sana tanong talaga, ano po ba talaga dun sa dalawa? 2 years lang or the interpretations nyo na kung nauna siyang two times nag-take tapos na yung certificate, which is the present interpretation, right? So, for as long as PRC accepts such and na naka two takes na, kasi ang concern, ito sabi sa batch 1 daw. Kasi yung batch 1 namin was a year ago, it only means dalawang sipalin ang dumaan. So kung dalawang sipalin lang ang dumaan, tapos within dalawang sipalin na dumaan, naka two takes na sila, right? So they are undergoing the batch 3 refresher. They are getting the new certificate ulit, the refresher certificate. Pero kasi yun nga, yun yung interpretation kasi na interpretation nila ha as BOA. Ang sinabi lang pero naman ang sinabi mismo sa sa PRC requirement, 'di ba? The refresher certificate is valid for 2 years. Pero kasi sinabi rin na nagre-refresher ang isang CPA examinee pag naka two takes na. And kung kinonek yung dalawang interpretation, whichever comes first. So kung galing ka sa batch 1 and nandito ka sa batch 3, ibig sabihin, sa interpretation pero hindi sa mismong papel na sinabi, tapos na yung isang cycle ng certificate na kinuha mo nung batch 1. Kaya nagba-batch 3 ka ngayon, tama? Kahit wala, hindi pa 2 years. Pero yun nga, yun din ang sinabi ulit niya. So, gusto ko lang sana tanungin ulit na, pero I didn't get a chance. I didn't get a chance. Why? Ayan, may iba siyang prioritize or other people to talk with. So, we're gonna clarify it again, no? Once we finish all the first agenda for this week kasi is the Canvas account. Asikasuhin ko po yan for you to get the final answer. Kasi PRC can interpret it nga with the 2 years, with the two takes. BOA have the 2 years something certificate validity. So, ayun. Papatanong ko namin ulit yan para sa mga batch 1 na nagsasabi or nagtatanong. Ano pong advice sa amin kasi? Kasi 'di ba, kung valid lang siya ng 2 years without the two takes, si batch 1 na nakatapos sa amin, okay lang yung certificate niya hanggang within 2 years lang siya na magti-take. Ako naman, yung sa stand ko lang, yung sinabi lang din ng BOA or binanggit sa atin na whichever comes first, right? The 2 years or the two takes. Yes, you can replay na without lagging. Ayan, yun ang sabi. Opo, tapos na ho. Ano, mag-quizzer na ho ba tayo? Quizzer. Wala pa bang attendance? Mamaya pa po after the quizzer. Wait lang. Quizzer last week. Ano yung tanong sa Quizzer last week? Quizzer 1, naka-upload siya. Quiz, yes. Wait, this week kung may Canvas access na kayo, you can take the quiz. Hindi, check the calendar. Ito, schedule nyo next week, June 24. Quiz 2, then we discuss the next set of topics. Bakit ba kasi naka-green, naka-red ito? Ay, green yun. Green set na tayo next meeting. Yan. So, after your second quiz, green na tayo. So, isang quiz lang din. So, isang quiz per session, no? Pansin nyo ba? Calendar. Hindi, magkaibang quizzer sa quiz. Quizzer 1 is just an activity, kumbaga, to test your knowledge or whatever we finish tonight. Pag naka-fill up ka na ng Google Form, let me pakita ko yung Google Form. Oh, ito yung attendance way ito. Ito 'di ba, nag-fill up sa Telegram, nagsabi ako na lahat ng wala pang Canvas access, i-fill up ang Google Form na ito. So ito, nasa Telegram 'yan. Make sure to fill it up. I'll close it tonight. I-forward ko sa UC tomorrow. Ito na, 683 na ang nag-fill up. Baka lahat naman kayo nag-fill up. Make sure yung mga hindi lang or wala lang access ha sa Canvas account nila. Kasi merong mga naka-open na at nagtitake at nagsusulat na doon sa Canvas. Quizzer is not recorded. It's like an activity. The quiz is the one recorded. Magkaiba ho yun. So, di ba? Ang dami kong binibigay. Hindi ba same yung quizzer, bro? Yeah, hindi same. Ibang quizzer sa quiz. Ito na nga, pakita ko na. O, yan. Wait. May answers. For a while, I'll stop the sharing. Yes, may answers yung quizzer ko ho. Ina-upload ko lahat yun. After. For you to review. Oo. Ano pang tanong dito? Where is it? Wala po bang canvas, sir? Wala po bang... Wala pa. Oo, may extension. Sinabihan ko lahat ng reviewers hanggang this week. Lahat ng hindi nyo na-take last week will be until this week. Ito, merong nakabalita ata sa National Association of Cities in Education. Number 5, Board of Trustee. Yes, this is my first appearance as Board of Trustee. Yes, I was elected Board of Trustee. Entire Philippines, kaya I will visit Visayas and Mindanao soon. Your schools maybe, mga galing Visayas, Mindanao dyan. I will visit your school someday, very soon. And of course, Luzon, and Manila schools, of course. That's part of my job for the purpose. Ito may tanong. For the purpose of FS presentation, if may conflict between PFRS and existing laws, what will prevail first? Hmm. Ang answer ko dyan, since we are preparing for the CPA board exam, depende sa subject, right? Sa board subject. Kasi if it is FAR or CFAS, we're gonna focus first with the financial reporting. So PFRS muna. Pero pag nagtanong yung PFRS, RFBT, lo muna, mauna na usapan. Pero in actual practice, actually, we use first the legal. Titingnan muna natin sa legal, di ba? Preparers, gan, or my fellow preparers of FS. Tingnan mo na, we follow first the legal aspect, di ba? If we violate something, then the accounting standards will follow, no? Pero for board purposes, depende sa nagtatanong ng subject. Thank you so much. I'm receiving a lot of congratulations. So make sure to earn your CPA license first for me to be your colleague. Yeah, okay. Change po ng SME to PFRS. Yes, yes. The full transition can take place on a specific and different periods involved. Sinasabi lang naman ng PFRS 1 na if we are adopting for the first time the PFRS, uh, we transition with the full PFRS and the retrospective application of such. Kung SMEs kasi yan, may required PFRS din sila for SMEs, which is embodying PFRS na talaga. So, kung hindi pa nila sinusunod yun, magta-transition talaga sila sa PFRS 1 from their usual standards or whatever they are following versus the PFRS na talaga na promulgated for the SMEs. Pero yes, may grace period naman yun na hindi siya minsan ang bagsakan on a specific period. Ang binabanggit pero kasi ng PFRS 1, ang application na dapat niya on the date of the transition natin sa complete set ng PFRS. Ah, yes. Yes, nabanggit din sa convention namin yung online refresher program which we are conducting. Well, based on the promulgations, it was just stated that only ang query kasi dyan, kung tama lang daw ba nag-online na refresher program or face-to-face kasi yung iba online, us peer online, ano ba talaga ang dapat? Ang binabanggit lang naman kasi doon, the the board exam taker should take and earn the refresher certificate on the school na refresher provider. But when it comes to the exercise of such uh, and its activities, kung online siya or face-to-face, it was not specifically mentioned. Therefore, we are not violating anything because ang pinanggit lang naman doon na somehow the refresher program provider uh, should provide the technical side, which is to teach or refresh na the 24 units subject. But it was not specifically mentioned if it is online or face-to-face. For as long as it will present nga the 24 units subject requirement. Kami, hindi naman kami na nagpabayad lang ng tuition, then issue na namin yung certificate. Because that is the tradition eh. That is a tradition in the past. Kaya nga, it was strictly monitored by BOA. BOA this time evaluated the program sa amin na nakita niya na online purely and want to suggest na full face-to-face. But there are no promulgations or mandate for that. Whereas other refresher program school providers provide their own access. So in short, tuloy ang batch 3. And we're gonna finish batch 3. That's the bottom line or conclusion so far for it. Mm, nag-strict lang ang BOA po ito. We're not affected as of today for anything na kung ano man narinig nyo, baka mag-close or what. We're gonna finish batch 3. That's a promise, of course. Because we are a CPA refresher provider. Kahit na gawing face-to-face or gawing online, we are provider. So talagang ipo-provide yung certificate or talagang may right to provide the certificate as of now. So provider talaga. So, sa ngayon, there are no other decisions na gawin kayong face-to-face or what. Siyempre, online yung napagkasunduan. Tatapusin natin yung batch rate online. Unless, BOA orders us na tomorrow, let's have face-to-face. Yung sa, ano daw yun? Akala ko yung sa two takes is applicable lang sa pinakuna na field. Ay, nasagot ko naman na lahat, I guess. We'll update you regarding those concerns or issues, okay? Pero for now, please focus on the A subjects, whatever you enrolled for us. So focus on that to reach the end goal na to earn the certificate, okay? The issues, leave it to us. Leave it to us. Hindi, magkaiba ang quizzer sa quiz. Okay? Enrolled po sa last refresher. Same credentials. Yes, we use your UC credentials before. Telegram? Okay, wait. Okay, where is your... I'll try to check later the QR code. Wait lang. Flash natin yung QR code daw, Telegram. Saan ba yan? Telegram. Yun. Okay. Here you go. Telegram access. Make sure you're officially enrolled. Where is it? Oh, can you see the Telegram access? Ay, sorry. Yeah, I think there's no issue with the question. Transactions like issuance of capital stock and payments of dividends between the business entity and the owners cannot give rise to revenue. Yeah, totoo naman na. Because retained earnings ang affected na equity account dyan, not any revenue or income accounts, right? When we issue or pay dividends, share capital, equity account is a different equity account from income or revenue, di ba? So, hindi talaga siya revenue. Face-to-face class and refresher. I think nasagot ko naman na. Whatever we had before or promised, di ba? It's pure online, as I mentioned. Oo, nabanggit ko na kung paano at wala pa kayong access sa Canvas. Diba? Kaya may Google Form tayo. Ano yun? Yes, it was discussed in the convention, the face-to-face issue, or it was shared. Thank you so much. Yes, hopefully to visit Bicol region. Hmm. Mas sumasagot na ng quizzer. Let's let's uh, let's let's start our quizzer para matapos na natin ang session tonight, okay? Ang dami ng... okay, sige, sige, sige. Okay, let's start our quizzer now. Number one. Ang sagot niya sa number one, I think na nabasa niyo na ng maayos. The correct answer in number one is it letter B or letter D? Kakabanggit lang natin, di ba? Letter B as in boy, the same in a financial position as the opening. Di ba? Letter B tayo dyan. Okay? Number two, the date to transition to PFRS is A, the beginning of the earliest period for which the entity presents full comparative info under PFRS. Ah, nakikita niyo ba? Share screen. Ay, naka-pause pala siya. Can you see? Question number two? Ayan. Question number two. Kunyari. Number one, ayan. Hmm. Question number 2. Kailan daw ang date to transition to PFRS? B. The end of the earliest period for which the entity presents full comparative info under its first PFRS. C. The beginning of the first PFRS reporting period. D. The end of the first PFRS reporting period. I guess I saw a lot of answers. The correct answer in number 2 is beginning yan malamang. So between A or C. At mas kompleto ang letter A. Okay? Number 2 is A. Let's move forward. 3. One of the benefits of the statement of cash flows, ayan, is that it helps users evaluate financial flexibility. Which of the following explanation is a description of financial flexibility? A. Entity's ability to pay debts on maturity. B. The nearness to cash of assets and liabilities. C. The entity's ability to invest in a number of projects with different objectives and costs. Or D. The entity's ability to respond and adapt to financial adversity and unexpected needs and opportunities. The correct answer in number 3 is, syempre, financial flexibility. Kailan ba nagkakaroon nun pag kaya makabayad ng obligations or liable? So letter A, number 3. Okay? Pag maglagay kayo ng answer sa chat box, pakilagay din ko anong number. Ano kasi medyo binilisan or maraming nakakabasa na agad. Kaya lagay kayo ng number. Ha? 4. Ayan. Cash advances and loans from bank overdraft should be reported as A. Operating, B. Investing, C. Financing, D. Others. Ano yung bank overdraft liabilities, right? Anong presentation niya? Current or non-current? Di ba current, general rule? Kaya number 4, letter A. Operating activities. Good job sa mga nakakuha. Let's move forward. 5. To arrive at net cash provided by operating activities, it is necessary to report revenue and expenses on a cash basis. This is done by letter A, re-recording all income statement transactions that directly affect cash in a separate cash flow. B, eliminating the effects of income statement transactions that did not result in corresponding increase or decrease in cash. C, eliminating all transactions that have not current in future effect on cash, such as depreciation and net income computation. D, estimating the percentage of income statement transactions that were originally reported in a cash basis and projecting the amount to the entire array of income statement transactions. I guess most of you are sure with your answers in number 5. So, net cash kasi ang usapan dyan and provided by operating activities. Anong gagawin natin? On a cash basis daw kasi siya eh. 'Di ba? Cash basis. So, between A or B, ang usapan siya. We don't eliminate all transactions that have not current and future effect on cash. Or letter A, so between A and B, re-record all income statement. Hindi naman. We don't re-record. We adjust or we eliminate. So B is a best answer. Eliminate the effects of income statement transaction. Remember, indirect method. Ito yung sasabi niya sa B. Then, that did not result in the corresponding increase or decrease. Kaya nga may indirect method ang take note sa question 5, operating activities. Diba? Number 5, letter B. Boy. 6. How should an unrealized gain or on foreign currency transaction be presented in the statement of cash flows? Ayan. Dapat alam na natin to. A. It should be ignored as it is an unrealized gain. Pwede. B, as adjustment to net income under operating activities. Ano kayang method ginamit niya? C, as a inflow daw on financing activities. Wala man tayong binanggit kanina about it as financing. B, it should be disclosed in the notes to FS by way of abundant precaution. No. So between A or B, what's your answer? Ayan. Unrealized gain, di ba? Non-cash gain or income. Pag sa operating yan, indirect method sa net income ina-adjust. Number 6, correct answer number 6 is letter B. As an adjustment to net income under operating activities. Okay? Hindi tayo pwedeng mag-ignore muna ng unrealized gain kasi may indirect method ng operating. Pwedeng gamitin. Pwedeng ma-report. No? 6B. Next, 7. An entity other than financial institution receive dividends. Oh, dividend income receive. How should it be disclosed? Oh, anong naalala kanina? A, operating. B, either operating or investing. C, either operating or financing. D, adjustment na operating of the cash flow because it's included in the income for the year and as a cash inflows in the financing activity section of the statement of cash flows. Oh, entity other than a financial institution daw, naka-receive ng dividends from investment in shares. Paano mo siya i-report? Dividend income you receive. Number 7, the correct answer, or the best answer rather is B or C. Letter number 7. Letter B as in boy, either as operating or investing activities. 7, boy. Okay. 8, which of the following would affect both financing and operating? A, collection of loan to other entities. B, issuance of equity shares. C, payment of dividends. D, redemption of debt. That's your answer, 8. Ay, ayun, kumala. Yeah. Sure and sure, guys. Sa C, B, A, C, D. So magkakaiba kayo. What's the best answer in number 8? Would affect both financing and operating. Silipin nga natin doon sa past 7 kanina. Ah, ayan, nandito kaya sa choices. The best answer in number 8 is letter D, redemption of debts. No? So may bonds na usapan. Financing and operating. Sino bang may financing siya operating dito? Dividends paid ang usapan pag financing and both financing kasi hindi siya sinabing options. It affects both financing tsaka operating na magkasama. Eh, kung sinilip mo yung slide ng past 7, option sa disclosure, isa lang dapat, di ba? Hindi na letter C yan. Number 8, best answer is D as in dog. Okay? Kaya naging D. 9, saan dyan? Ang pinag-usapan sa past 24, nasilip nyo na. Number 9 is letter. Siyempre, post-employment na usapan, di ba? Benefits. Eh, usapang post-employment benefits, letter A, of course, is a good answer. Pero tingnan natin yung iba. May social security country ba sa post-employment benefits? Of course. May share-based ba? Oo. Financial accounting, di ba? Sabi niya. Pwedeng share-based, pwedeng cash-based, equity settled. Di ba? Mga ganyan. Number 9. So, the best answer, number 9, all of the above are all key management person compensation. Okay? Next. Ito, 10. Siguro alam na alam niyo na to. Which of the following is not a related party? A, associated. B, key management personnel. C, entity providing banking facilities. D, shareholder owning 30%. What's the best answer in number 10? Letter? Yan. Ang dami ko nakita. C, sabi niya. Letter D as in dog. Joke lang. Di pala. Siyempre, ang trick mo dyan, naalala mo lang 20% saka 50%, di ba? Eh, associate pa rin naman siya kahit 30%. So the correct answer and the best answer in number 10, alam natin yan, kahit trinik ko kayo. Letter C yan, bank. Di ba? Not related party. 10 is C. 11, which is the following is not a related party. What's your answer? A, director. B, parent. C, son. D, shareholder of the entity that holds 1% stake in the entity. What's your answer? Ayan. Number 11 is dog, di ba? Obviously, nabanggit natin si A, B, and C. Paano na lang kaya kung ang option nyo dyan, class? A, B, and C na lang. What do you think will be the best answer? Sige nga. I encountered a question here kasi ang choices lang was A, B, and C, something like that. Wala si D. So dito kasi 11, D, dog is the best answer. That's the correct and best answer. Ang tinatanong ko sa inyo, paano kung A, B, and C na lang ang pagpipilian? Sino na ang hindi related party dyan? No? I encountered a question. It says that ang hindi na daw related party si parent. Remember kanina ang sinabi lang 24, ang direct partner plus the dependents, di ba? So, hindi niya nabanggit si parent. So, next in line dyan si parent. In case you encounter na wala si D, no? Hmm. Sabi niya. Number 12. So, 11 is D as a dog. 12, if a business entity entered into a certain related party transaction, it would require to disclose all of the following except A, nature of the relationship between the parties and to the transaction. B, nature of any future transactions planned between the parties and the terms involved. C, peso amount of the transaction. D, amounts due from to or related parties. Siyempre, usapang amounts, disclose na agad lahat yan. Nakalabel lang na related parties, di ba? So between A and B, A, the nature of the relationship, yes, between the parties to the transaction. B, nature of future transactions. Parang labo naman. No? Relationship is the term, di ba? So, correct answer. Nakita ko kanina, maraming nag-flash ng B agad. 12, B as in boy. Next, halfway through na po tayo. Patapos na tayo. Number 13, at the end of the current period, the entity carried a receivable from a major customer. The customer declared bankruptcy after the end of the reporting period. How should the entity account the event? A, ignore. B, make a provision for this post-reporting period event. C, disclose the notes, the fact that customer declared bankruptcy. D, reverse the sale pertaining to the receivable for the prior period and treat it as an error. And medyo kasi pag binasa mo yung buong standard ng past 24, may portion or part siya that talks about a major customer, di ba? Na disclosure. Pero kasi, hindi natin naman siya na-enumerate as a related party. Pero sinabi lang niya yung disclosure pertaining to major customer. Kaya nandito siya. Tignan natin, hindi natin siya ignore most probably. B, possible. C, possible. D, reverse the sale. Hindi Talagang may sale na nangyari eh. Baka PFRS 9, the required allowance or write-off ang usapan siya, di ba? Hindi natin i-adjust na walang sale. Talagang meron. So, mali si B. So, between B or C na lang. So, what's your best answer? 13? Yan, pag binasa mo yung standards na diretso sa past 24, makita mo yung sagot. Number 13 is to make a provision for this post-reporting period event. Letter B na siya. Kasi si major customer bankruptcy na yung usapan. Letter C ang usapan pag usapang major customer lang. Na talagang major customer siya. We disclose the fact na major customer siya. Pero kasi kung major customer siya plus bankruptcy na ang usapan, hindi na doubtful, di ba? May write-off na na usapan. We make the provision na for this post reporting period event for such. So 13, boy. 14. Under Pass 8, which of the following events after the reporting period would be disclosed? Ayan. Pass 8, guys. A, strike off employees. B, retirement of the entity president. C, issue of large number of ordinary shares. D, settlement of litigation. When the event gave rise to the litigation occurred prior to the reporting period or the reporting date. What's our answer in 14? Events after the reporting period would require disclosure. So, hanap tayo ng adjusting events. A and B, non-adjusting events lahat yan. Diba? C, nako, pag binasa niyo yung adjusting tsaka non-adjusting events, binanggit niya yan, the issue of large number of ordinary shares. Pag after reporting period, non-adjusting din siya na usapan somehow. Or the actually disclose pa lang tinatanong, hindi adjusting. Which of an investment reporting period would require disclosure lang pala usapan. So between C and D yan. Settlement, tingnan natin letter D. Settlement of litigation when the event that gave rise to the litigation occurred prior to the reporting period. Yes, that should be disclosed as well. And C is being disclosed as well, pero non-adjusting na usapan yan. Kasi kung large number of ordinary shares and after the reporting period yun, non-adjusting siya for the next reporting period talaga siya, di ba? So, which is your answer? C or D? Ano ang, what's your best answer for number 14? Events after the reporting period that would require disclosure. Actually, both of them requires disclosure. Yung isa lang requires an adjusting entry. So, letter D will be the answer if is an adjusting event na usapan. So, disclosure plus the adjustment. Pero kasi minsan, baka ang tinanong, event after the reporting period na non-adjusting, A, B, and C na usapan. Then, so magkakamukha sa A, B, and C. Let's go with letter D. Lahat yung choices dinidisclose. Ang binabanggit lang natin, may non-adjusting tsaka adjusting event. Mukhang adjusting event lang kasi is letter D. So let's go with number 14, letter D for the disclosure na usapan. 14D. 15. Which of the following is true regarding disclosure for subsequent events? And ito na. A. Recognize loss for a period. A loss for a recognized subsequent event in the current year FS. B. Recognize a gain or loss for any recognized subsequent event in the current year. C. Recognize a loss for all recognized and unrecognized subsequent events in the current year. Or letter D. Recognize a loss for a recognized subsequent event in the FS in the year when the subsequent event occurs. O, saan ang pinakatama dyan? Kasi lahat ay puro recognition eh. For subsequent events. Pwedeng adjusting, pwedeng non-adjusting. Medyo hindi siya tumugma eh. Subsequent siya na nangyari, pero current year daw ay disclose. B, subsequent event siya, current year din. So medyo hindi tumutugma. C, recognize a loss for all recognized and unrecognized subsequent events. Hindi naman lahat kasi adjusting events na subsequent events eh. Diba? So mukhang letter D na lang naiwan. Correct answer number 15 is letter D. Yan tumugma. Recognize a loss daw for a recognized subsequent event of the subsequent event. Of the subsequent period of the said event, di ba? So 15, letter D is the correct and best answer. Okay? 15. Next, 16. There is a presumption that anyone reading interim FS would A. Have access to the record of the entity, B. Not make decisions based on the report, C. Have access to the most recent annual report, or D. Understand the PFRS. 16. Wala tayong kwentuhan about A and B between C and D. Yan, mukhang sure na sure kayo. 16 is letter C, di ba? Mostly annual reports ang usapan dyan pag interim. So, 16, the best and the correct answer is letter C. 17, which of the following describes requirements regarding interim FS? A, interim FS are required. B, interim FS must be presented with the most recent annual statements. C, if interim FS are presented, 4 basic FS are required. D, if interim FS are presented, at least a statement of financial position and a statement of comprehensive income are required. Anong sinabi ng standards natin sa past 34? Ano ang required for interim na usapan? Number 17. Oh, tingnan natin. Letter A, hindi eh. Sabi niya past 34 can provide the complete set or the interim. So, hindi best answer and correct answer yung A. A. Yung B, the interim FSO must be presented with the most recent annual SFS. Hindi niya binanggit kung ano yung specific na FS. 'Di ba? So medyo may hindi nagkatugma sa B. C. Interim FS na presented daw. 4 basic FS are required. Pwede? Tingnan natin yung D. If interim FS are presented, at least a statement of financial position and a statement of comprehensive income daw is required, are required. Anong usapan natin? Pag interim, at least statement of financial position. Diba? Eh kung ibe-present niya lahat ng FS, aside sa statement of financial position, edi dapat na niyang i-present lahat. Diba? Sabi ng past 34 kasi, si interim, at least si similar financial position, right? Eh kung ipe-present mo na rin si comprehensive income, magpo-full set ka na or magko-complete set ka na ng FS, at least financial position lang kasi. Kulang yung letter D. Kulang na yung letter D niyan. Hindi na tayo maging in compliance with past 34. Saan tayo? 17, letter C is the best and the correct answer. Kulang kasi yung kulang yung D. Kasi may statement of compre income na eh. Kung statement of financial position lang, we will go with that. Letter D. Do you agree? Pero kasi nilagay niya comprehensive income. Kulang na. Lahat na dapat i-present. Best answer C. 17, letter C. 18. If the entity does not prepare interim reports, anong gagawin? A. The year-end FS are deemed to comply with PFRS. B. The year-end FS compliance with PFRS is not affected. C. The year-end FS will not be acceptable daw under local legislation. Or letter D. Interim FS should be, a financial report should be included in the year-end FS. What's your answer? Hindi daw nag-interim financial reports. Ano daw ang mangyayari? Number 18. Yan, ang bilis ng letter B nyo. Sa number 18 na. Saan na tayo? Third. Oh, number 18 ba yun? Oh, 18, letter B as in boy. Of course, hindi siya affected, di ba? Sabi nga natin, hindi strict yung past 34 as contrary to past 1. So, 18, boy. Next, down to last few questions. 19. Each of the following statement is true regarding interim. A. Interim not required. B. Interim reports required quarterly basis. C. Discrete views required for interim FS. D. Interim reports require the preparation of only the statement of compare and the statement of financial position. Sa 19, tama na sana. Dinagdagan na naman yan ng comprehensive income. Hindi na yan yung answer sa D. The correct answer is letter A. It's not required, right? 20, which is the best explanation why? Yeah, 19 is A. Oh, yes, 1968. 20. Which is the best explanation why accounting changes are classified into different categories? A. The materiality of the changes involved. B. The fact that some treatments are considered GAAP and some are not. C. A survey of managers. Uh, and their need to provide a favorable profit picture. D. Each category involve different methods of recognizing changes in financial statements. So what is the best explanation about my accounting changes? Disclosure. A, B, C, or D, number 20. The correct answer is letter D, as in dog. Each category kasi involve different methods. Diba? Do you agree? Of recognizing changes in the FS. No? 20, D. Next, 21, change in accounting policy. Yan, dapat alam niya na. 21, require for A, for all material transactions, required. Be permitted if the change will result in more reliable and more relevant presentation of the FS. C, required if an alternative accounting policy give rise to a material change in assets liable and current net income. D, permitted if the entity encounters new transactions, events, or conditions that are substantively different from existing or previous transactions. Which is the best answer? 21. Ang bilis ng 21. Letter B daw. The correct answer is B. Biro lang. S letter B as in boy. 21 is boy. Ayan. Sa mga mabilis sa sumagot ng boy, tama ko kayo. 21 is B. Next. 22. Which of the following is accounting for change in accounting policy? Ayan. Alam niya na yan. A. Change in useful life. B. Inventory valuation. C. Change from cash basis. Cash to accrual. D. Change from expensing immaterial expenditure to deferring and amortizing them. So, saan dyan change accounting policy? Naalala nyo ba? Balikan natin pag di nyo nakakalimutan nyo. Saan ba dyan accounting policy? O saan ang na-mention dyan? versus to, di ba? Siyempre, hindi si A. Wala din tayong kwentuhan sa C and D. Kaya pala ang bilis nyo sa 22. B as in boy. Inventory valuation change or costing method ng inventory. 22 is letter B. Last two questions. 23. If it's impractical, ay, hindi pa ako, hindi pa ako, babasa pa ako. Ba't may 23 na agad na naka-flash dyan? Sige, kayo na lang magbasa o sa 23. O, anong sagot nyo? Kayo na nagbasa. O, sige, sagutan nyo na. Kayo na rin nagbasa sa 23. Yes, ang bilis eh. Oh, nawala na. Wala na agad yung mga nauna. Oh, anong sagot nyo? Hindi mo daw ma-determine kung ano. Accounting policy or accounting estimate? 23? Ay, asan ba tayo? 23? Yeah. Accounting change to any of the prepared errors. Ano ba siya ang usapan? Accounting estimate. Yan ang usapan pag accounting estimate. Prospective. Kaya palang bilis nyo. O, kayo na magbasa. Kayo na magbasa. Letter 3, letter B as in boy on a prospective basis. Kasi nga, accounting estimate siya, di ba? O, kayo na. Bilis eh. But if, ano pa lang ang term ko eh, if 23, if, ayun na yung sagot. 23. Good job, naalala nyo agad. Kasi di ba, hindi siya agad binagit na accounting estimate. Pero alam naman natin, pag account estimate, P, wag ipapare sa P, prospective, si account estimate. Kaya 23 is B. O kayo na sa 24. Sagot, hindi pa ako, nag-explain pa ako eh. Sige, wag natin patagalin to. 24. When the residual value of plant and machinery has drastically changed, ano daw yun? The entity should A. Ignore the effect. B. Change the annual depreciation of the current year and future years. C. Change the depreciation charge and treat it as correction of error. D. Retrospective daw. Nausapan. Oh, uy, naalala nila. Oh. Pag change sa bandang PPE yan, na useful life, tsaka residual value, isa change in accounting estimate. E pag accounting estimate, prospective, retrospective. Si accounting policy kasi, P, di pa pare sa P, retrospective siya. So si accounting estimate, prospective. E pag prospective, future periods. Letter B. 24, B as in boy. Okay? So, tignan nyo yung mga questions. No? Hindi siya agad sinasabi na prospective or retrospective or estimate or policy. Pero we can interpret such answers, right? Kaya ang 24, letter B as in boy. And that's the end of my quizzer for tonight. Yes, natapos po tayo ng maaga. And the rest of the time will be yours. And I'll be ending the record button now. I'll be again uploading everything once everything will be done. And of course,